Yeah, well, detectives on scene confirmed that the victim is a male and he died from a gunshot wound. Now, it appears at this hour that he was shot and killed here on Orlando Street. I'm going to step out of the way so we can zoom in and show you the active investigation going on right here behind me here on Orlando Street. This is near the 1600 block. Now, officials have been out here for several hours at this point, piecing together any evidence that they can gather. Now, around 1 o'clock this morning, Greensboro police responded to a call referencing a shooting near the 1600 block of Orlando Street. Now, when police arrived, they found a male victim dead on scene. Now, I'm told that the death investigation is very active this hour and currently in its early stages. Detectives are trying to gather anything the suspect could have left behind, like tire marks, fingerprints, anything like that. Now, as of the top of this hour, police tell me that there are no suspects involved in this case. They are asking anyone with information to call the Greensboro Guilford Crime Stoppers. Now, take a look right here. Here's a live look again at the active scene going on, hour 5 at this point. Now, the death investigation, again, like I said, is active, and at this hour, officials have not yet released the name of the victim or the age or any other details. So we are still working and following this, and of course, we'll bring you that latest information as soon as we learn it. Live in Greensboro, Lauren Crawford, Fox 8 News.
It's going to be a large structure. You might as well get some aerial devices on the way. That structure is not going to be able to you're not going to be able to go inside that building.
Around 3:45 this morning, Rockingham County fire officials got a call from Norfolk Southern Railway about a fire off Business 29 and Narrow Gauge Road.
Structure fully involved. US 29 business, 5940 US 29 business. Second alarm, working commercial structure fires.
Massive flames and thick smoke rushing up from the old multi-story tobacco warehouse. We could see the action from several miles away. On our way here, now one back wall of the structure is left standing, surrounded by the rest of the collapsed vacant building.
This is one of the larger fires we've had in quite some time, and the flames were higher than the highest floor on these buildings.
Road closures and detours disrupted morning commutes for drivers. Several routes along Wolf Island Road and Business 29 shut down. While emergency sirens blared, crews rushed through to get in and get the job done.
Those partnerships and that teamwork is what it takes to mitigate emergency situations.
Leading people to the polls, a crowd of voters marched from downtown Greensboro to North Carolina A&T with an important message. We are ready for change.
People are concerned with every community, every city, every movement that is demanding justice, from Greensboro all the way to Louisville, Kentucky, all the way to Atlanta, all the way to Minneapolis.
Reverend Greg Drumright organized the I Am Legacy Change March to encourage voter participation in the community.
It just lets me know that I am important and I need to go out and vote and use my voice.
As the crowd made their way through campus, we heard chants that echoed marches from earlier this year for social change. Friday evening, people heard from some of the most powerful voices in that fight. George Floyd's niece and civil rights attorney Ben Crump.
Greensboro should be proud that these figures for justice were here to march with us. It was a beautiful march.
With only a few days left to vote, community leaders are pushing harder than ever to get people to the polls.
I am glad that I used my right to occupy the public streets of this campus and bring people into this voting booth to cast their vote.
Revolutionary! Revolutionary!
This morning, the doctor and the VP over the project say they know people are injured and need surgery. They're suffering from dehydration and other medical issues from being forced out of their homes in Ukraine. The disaster response team that left the Piedmont Triad this morning includes 25 doctors, nurses, and construction specialists who will be helping to build the mobile hospital. When the Samaritan's Purse aircraft touches ground, the disaster response team will land in Poland. That is where they will drive all of the supplies across the Ukrainian border to set up the emergency field hospital. The hospital will be able to treat 100 patients each day and will consist of 30 inpatient beds, operating rooms, and an ICU. Now, the goal is to help as many refugees as possible and identify any health needs that local healthcare is unable to meet. Dr. Elliot Tenpenny is the director of the International Health Unit for Samaritan's Purse. He says they've been blessed with resources to get them around the world, and they'll be on the ground for however long it takes to meet the needs around Ukraine.
We're compelled by our faith, and we're called to respond to needs around the world with this type of capacity. Right now, inside that plane has capacity to have over 30 beds, ICU capacity, operating theaters, and around you, you see much of the staff that will be manning those stations in the coming weeks.
Now, another aircraft will be traveling to Ukraine again next week. It will be carrying additional medical and clinical supplies in case disaster response teams need to continue building more emergency field hospitals on the ground in surrounding countries near Ukraine. The relief agency is also looking to distribute 20 tons of food. In Greensboro, Lauren Crawford, Fox 8 News. The Winston-Salem Fire Department Battalion Chief tells me that the fire is still active and there is still a potential for an explosion. Now, as it gets lighter outside, we can really start to see that heavy smoke from the Weaver fire just about a mile away from where we are right here on Indiana Avenue. Now, I spoke with fire officials who tell me that the air quality is going to be poor and they are asking everyone to avoid any kind of strenuous activities outside. About 6,000 people live in the evacuated area. Right now, city leaders and emergency personnel are going door to door trying to get everyone within a 1-mile radius out of their homes. The Forsyth Correctional Facility is also located inside the evacuation radius. I spoke to city officials who tell me that all prisoners and staff have been moved to the Alexander Correctional Facility. Now, right now, you can see fire and heavy smoke hovering across parts of Winston-Salem. Winston-Salem fire officials tell me the fire is so massive that the building has collapsed. And because of the large amount of ammonium nitrate in the building, crews are restricted from trying to fight the flames. They are having to use drone teams from emergency management, other external fire departments to help assess the scene every 15 to 20 minutes.
We called in emergency management and they started helping us with evacuations. We have trucks, fire trucks going down every road. On the PA system, we're going door to door in some places and hitting target communities trying to get everyone out of the area.
Now, right now, officials tell me there are 90 firefighters working around the clock and about 150 emergency personnel. A lot of them are going door to door trying to get people outside of their homes and get them to go to stay with family or friends or go to an emergency shelter. That emergency shelter is now open at an educational building at the fairgrounds in Winston-Salem at 414 Deacon Boulevard. Again, city leaders are asking people to not call 911 today. If they see smoke in the air, they will be backed up with other calls and focus on emergencies only, and obviously this big fire. In Winston-Salem, I'm Lauren Crawford. Yeah, Melissa, well, there's something here for everyone today. 4 stages of live music. Then you have 30 food vendors and 36 craft vendors. There's even karaoke, a mechanical bull, and a skating rink. Now I was talking to the president of Downtown Greensboro Incorporated, Zach Matheny, and he and his team have been working on this for 6 months. And every year they add one thing new to keep the festival vibrant.
We've got a couple things that are different. We're actually wanting people to dress up more. We want to promote that. And so we're having an actual contest on what the dress looks like. We've got a wagon dressing contest. You can actually win things by dressing up your wagon or yourself.
There's 4 zones of endless entertainment at the Freedom Fest in downtown Greensboro. From 12 to 6 o'clock, it's back-to-back live music all day in Hamburger Square. Then dozens of vendors will be set up along Elm Street next to the Rhythm, Stars, and Stripes stage. And if you're looking to follow your favorite local bands, there's a stage set aside just for local artists. Before the Freedom Fest gets going, the Triad's longest-running race tradition will happen. Hundreds of people are signed up this morning to participate in the Fun 4th Freedom Run. The 10K is set to start at 7:30, the 5K at 8 o'clock, and the Family Fun Run at 8:30 following that. And I'm told there will be extra police, fire, and EMS crews out here all day long during the festival. Parking, when you get down here, I'm told that there will be spaces available on Market Street through Hamburger Square, as well as the parking deck spaces. And ahead at 6, we're heading over to where the Freedom Run setup is underway. Live in Greensboro this morning, Lauren Crawford, Fox 8 News.
On the far left of this Archdale United Methodist Church worship service is Lindsay Ray.
I was singing as soon as I could talk.
Growing up, she sang a lot of hymns.
These waves, they come at me fast.
But she recently discovered her gift in the world of contemporary Christian music.
And I started writing when I was about 18, and from there we got The War Within and the 2 other songs I've released.
Her single, The War Within, set me free.
If I just cover my ears, will I hear it anymore?
Could be seen as a battle cry for all the people who think they fight alone.
How do I smile when inside there's a war raging deep? I wanna be free. I had a friend that I did not know was struggling. I don't think any of my friends around me knew he was struggling, and he actually took his own life last year in July. And so after seeing that, you may not know necessarily what somebody's going through.
For the many who suffer in silence, Lindsay hopes her voice will remind them they are heard.
Even if you're struggling with anxiety, depression, addiction, or suicide, there's always somebody there who wants to hear your story, or that you can give a call to that would rather you be here than you not be here, and that you can pray to God and He's always there to listen. He's the one person who never leaves. I'll just shake it all off, not as bad as it seems. I think I'm now finding out what this all means, set me free.
The week The War Within was released, it was number 9 in radio downloads in the U.S. for Christian contemporary music and number 4 for radio streams.
There is a light at the end of this tunnel. Whether or not it's a really long tunnel you're in, there will be a light, and you will see a day when you feel more free, when you feel set free.
Yeah, Winston-Salem city leaders are now trying to work out the logistics, and they are hoping to have a plan to present to council next month. Now, a social district that allows people to go outside with their alcoholic drinks and bring them around with them. Now, Greensboro recently opened its social district called the Downtown Borough daily from noon to 9. Talks are happening now about where the social district boundaries in Winston-Salem will be, which businesses will participate, and a cutoff time for people strolling around with alcohol. Now, security is one of the main concerns from city leaders, which can be an issue. A spokesperson with Winston-Salem Police say they have more than 100 vacancies to fill right now. But despite some of those concerns, business owners, along with city leaders, they say this could be the boost businesses need, especially as they try to bounce back after the pandemic.
We're definitely taking a look at it, and we think it will be really helpful in some areas. We're looking to keep it from being just a broad-based, anybody can carry a drink anywhere.
Now, if discussions at the next city council meeting go well, we could see the social district implemented here in Winston-Salem by this summer. Live in Winston-Salem, Aaliyah Sims, Fox 8 News.
In 1983, my parents helped me buy Asheboro Florist here in town. It was a small shop.
Becoming a florist and a designer wasn't the career Gary McBride originally had planned.
The first time I had a wedding to do, the designer was a no-show.
Sometimes in life, that's when the best things work out. One evening when Gary walked into an event as a florist, he walked out as a decorator.
I decided to bring in freelance floral designers into the store. And in 1983, I was paying them quite a lot per hour to work, but that was how I learned how to do what they were doing.
Over nearly 4 decades, Gary's tiny flower shop blossomed into a high-end interior design store. When you walk into the small business at 323 NC 49 South, you'll find extravagant floral arrangements, among all the furniture, artwork, and fine line of jewelry.
We're in a very traditional setting here in Asheboro, but I like to add in some things that are a little contemporary as well.
Over the years, clients have become like family, whether it's decorating holiday wreaths and bouquets.
I had one client that I had done their Christmas for them every year since 1985.
Or learning about their antiques passed down from generations.
Everybody has a past, everybody has things that they want to keep and save, and then you work around that and build on it.
Gary uses it all to help his designs come together.
Getting inside somebody's home and seeing everything and seeing the actual space helps tremendously. And you know from what you have in stock and what you are able to get what will work out. The Cheese Dome came from an estate in California.
It's a job he's passionate about and doesn't plan to give up anytime soon.
It's funny how time goes by and you realize that you're a lot older. I like what I'm doing and I like working. So I'm hoping that I'm still doing this whenever I'm 75 or 78 years old.
In Asheboro, Lauren Crawford, Fox 8 News.
Good morning. The district plans to build 3 new schools and renovate 13 over the next 10 years. County commissioners are calling these upgrades long overdue. School leaders also provided an update on the bond passed in 2020. The $300 million will fund 8 projects. The first of those should be complete by 2024, and crews will break ground on a handful of projects this summer. Leaders are also looking at repurposing some buildings. They have their eyes on other schools like the former American Hebrew Academy. Superintendent Sharon Contreras says a campus like that could create space to help foster students in the county.
We are constantly looking for housing, families, for children who are in foster care. And there's a beautiful site right there where they can go to school and live at the same time.
That campus is large enough to house multiple schools. Dr. Contreras plans to speak with county commissioners and the state health department to get help with this idea. Live in Greensboro, Caroline Boyer, Fox 8 News.
The Must Clinic is on the move.
We're going back in time. You know, back in the day, doctors used to kind of pull up in that horse and buggy and see people at home. Grandma was sick, they'd come by. I'm doing something similar, but with all the technology.
Family physician Dr. Zoe Stallings is eliminating barriers that often put health on the back burner. Her patients don't have to worry about driving to a doctor's office. She brings the exam table to you.
When you're finished, you go into your kitchen, you walk back to your house, and it saves you on a lot of that effort to drive, park, go inside, come back out, check out, leave. We just cut that down to 20 to 30 minutes.
The Must Clinic, which stands for Mobile Urgent Specialized Treatment, is a non-traditional approach compared to Dr. Stallings' previous experience.
Started practicing in 2013 here in North Carolina, and I've worked for a big health system since that time. And during the pandemic, I just kept thinking, nothing stopped with our health. We just had to close our doors. So diabetes kept going, gout still was an issue. And I really wanted to still go into the community so that people knew that your health care is a must.
It's been about 7 months since the clinic officially hit the road, offering routine physicals, screenings, and urgent care. Dr. Stallings and medical assistant Dolores Gaddy say the van helps put people at ease.
It means so much because of what we do with our patients. They're not just our patients. They're like family. They're like friends.
With the demographics of this area in the Triad, I think people just wanted to see someone who looked like them.
An easy way to make self-care a priority.
When you are ready to step out and try something new, the no's and the naysayers and the theys have no place. You just have to write it down, look it over, pray about it, and then just try, go for it. Because you'll sit back and you'll wait and wait and wait and you'll never move.
A home filled with family and 4 years of memories is now unrecognizable. Officials are investigating the cause of the fire, but the fire chief tells me the home appears to be a total loss. Now, I spoke with a family of 4 who lives here, and all made it out safely. And while their home is gone, they say someone was watching over them this morning.
So I just think it was God that woke us up, because we didn't hear no alarms or no smoke. We just heard the doorbell over and over, and nobody was outside when we got outside.
Cheryl Donnell, her husband, and their 2 children woke up this morning just in time to get out as flames were consuming the home.
When I got out and saw my husband and my 2 kids, that was all I wanted right there. I mean, you want the house, but the main things were out, and that was my family, and I'm very grateful. I'm thankful.
Neighbors up and down the street showing their support all morning, but none of them knew about the fire in time to ring the doorbell.
You just feel so much love when people just help you out in the worst of times, and this is the worst of times, but we're still here, and I'm thanking God that we're still here.
The damage is widespread, destroying cars under the carport garage, demolishing the roof, busting windows, and charring the home inside and out. But a few special items were recovered.
His baseball team, he played for Norfolk State, and they won the MEAC championship last year, and they had just gave them their rings on Monday at an award ceremony, and they were able to retrieve his ring out of the fire.
The cause of the fire is undetermined, but officials say the fire appears to have started here at the back of the house. Now, American Red Cross volunteers are here extending their resources to the family. And of course, we will continue to keep you covered and let you know of any new details as we learn them. In Brown Summit, Lauren Crawford, Fox 8 News.
The letter from the Scoutmaster is very specific. The schools are closed due to the pandemic. Churches may well be too. But that doesn't excuse Scouts from doing their good turns. The Scoutmaster reminded them that they were one of 400,000 boys doing this nationwide. Yes, boys. This letter is 100 years old, written during the flu pandemic in 1920, and things have changed. The Scouts in the middle of this pandemic are girls, part of the first group of young women nationwide to ring the bell as they earned their Eagle Scout rank. None of them were new to scouting.
I was a Girl Scout for about 11 years.
And they enjoyed it, but found...
I think what Girl Scouts was offering was a little more arts and craftsy than what I wanted to do. And the things they were doing in like the Cub Scouts that I saw my brother doing were like hands-on, really like fun activities outdoors.
So when the opportunity came, they chose to be groundbreakers.
Well, it's a very big deal, yes.
And all quite reminiscent of a time when making Eagle Scout was front-page news in the local paper.
That was 1954, 66 years ago.
That's when Selby's grandfather, Sid Chipman, became an Eagle Scout. Now that his granddaughter has joined him...
I think it's fantastic. That's where we've been headed, right? For equal rights, and times have changed.
But what Scouts have to accomplish to become Eagles hasn't. They still do all the outdoor activities, the good turns, like placing flags on veterans' graves on Veterans Day, and those special Eagle Scout projects.
My project was a mobile information kiosk for the Guilford Battleground Park.
The projects typically take weeks of planning and days of cutting, measuring, and building.
My project was a wildlife viewing area
on the Mountain to Sea Trail.
It's a platform, it's a 6x10 platform. It sits across from the Haw River actually, and it has a really beautiful view of the pond.
What I ended up doing is a mini free food pantry for Hope Chapel in downtown Greensboro. So by having my pantry, they can go all hours of the day and night and be able to get the food they need.
All good turns that will have an impact on this generation and maybe the next.
The biggest deal of it is it's going to make a huge impact on young girls, seeing that we were able to do this, and then it'll be easier for them to achieve it because they have someone that they can follow and watch to learn from.
And what they'll learn is that things have changed in big ways and small.
There are merit badges now that never even entered our minds.
Like the ones Alexandra got for robotics and plumbing.
After I finished the merit badge, I actually went home and fixed my leaky shower head. I was able to do it.
And now always prepared.
It was a lot more fun than I thought it would be.
For whatever may come. Bob Buckley, Fox 8 News.
Yeah, traffic is just one of the concerns from neighbors now, preserving historic landmarks and overcrowding, and as well as safety. Now, those are others. Now, neighbors were not shy to voice their concerns at the meeting last night about why they did not want to see that 48,000 square foot Publix grocery store in their backyards. They say they have several other grocery stores in their area of the proposed property. Now, during the meeting, people living nearby were able to have one-on-one conversations with the development partners who say their research shows there wouldn't be a major change in traffic patterns. But homeowners who walked in against the project left the meeting feeling the same way. Some neighbors said they feel like the developers aren't listening, but developers say they are ready to listen and even have made some changes to the proposal.
We're absolutely doing our best to listen to people. We've reduced operating hours. We've limited truck deliveries and trash trucks to certain hours to try to address noise and concerns about late night activity. We're trying to incorporate those elements as well.
Now, developers also say the nearby historic Mendenhall Blair House would be preserved. Now, the next step in this process is for the developers to present this to the High Point Planning and Zoning Committee. Then they will see if this project can move forward to the next phase. Now, ultimately, High Point City Council, they're expected to have the final say on May 16th. Live in High Point, Aaliyah Sims, Fox 8 News.
We're out here in Greensboro stuffing the bus today. We are at the Walmart location, the parking lot off Battleground Avenue, and it is just incredible to see how generous people are here in Greensboro. Now, we've been seeing people drop off things like backpacks, erasers, highlighters, colored pencils, everything that kids need to get back to school and feel confident walking into the classroom. And that's what we're all about, and that's why we are helping donate all these school supplies to kids. And right now with me, I have Lieutenant Chris Raymer from the Salvation Army. And Chris, tell me a little bit about how this helps kids across Tri. It helps a lot, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and we serve in so many capacities here in Greensboro, but this is such an exciting time of the year to be able to serve nearly 350 children that come through our Boys and Girls Clubs, that come through our Center of Hope with their families. And it really is, it's an honor to be able to do this for them.
It's a great thing going on out here. And my favorite part is seeing all the smiles of people walking out of the store, getting to donate. And, you know, when they drop it off in this basket, they just have the biggest grin on their face. And you think about that times all the kids that you are going to be helping. You know, think about when kids get these school supplies, how happy and confident they'll be that they get to walk back in the classroom with a brand new folder. Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about if people can't donate today, we can't make it out. Was there any other way they can donate or give back?
Yep, absolutely. So I'd really ask people to visit us on the web, salvationarmyofgreensboro.org. Right on there, the front page, you'll see Fox 8 Thomas Built Buses, Stuff the Bus link. Please click on it. Donate now. We can use those donations to fill in the gap wherever possible.
And I'm going to have you keep holding up this QR code right here, and we're going to zoom in on this. And if you hold up your phone to the QR code, you'll be able to pull up the school supply list that we need to stuff the bus. And on those that list, there's things like I said, colored pencils, scissors, highlighters, glue sticks, journals, notebooks, notepads, everything that we need to make the students prepared when they go back to school this month. And like I said, they will be out here until 7 o'clock today. So if you get a chance to come out, please do it. It helps tremendously, and we want to give back to as many kids in the triad as possible. But I'll send it back to y'all in the studio.
This is a place focused on long-term solutions. Macedonia Family Resource Center has offered people everything from summer camp to a satellite library. It is also focused on feeding the High Point community.
Several years ago, the High Point community led the nation in food insecurity. So clearly hunger was a major issue.
The nonprofit on Lake Avenue became a food giveaway site years ago. It maintains a pantry and now gives away 100 boxes of food every month. While it primarily feeds neighbors in the south part of the city, anyone who needs help can find it at Macedonia Family Resource Center. Executive Director Del McCormick says it's a way to help people get back on their feet.
Plan is not to ever, give folks food for the rest of their lives. Our intake process allows us to find out what happened to make you stumble, what happened to make you need food.
The center plans to hold an event to let neighbors know its doors are open. It's also working on a new initiative focused on young men of color. The Youth Policing Simulation will prepare participants ages 12 to 16 for situations with law enforcement by fostering relationships with those who wear the badge. A grant from the High Point Community Foundation will make it possible.
If these young men get an idea or an understanding of who the police officers are, that goes a long way in the future for when encounters happen.
No justice, no peace. The hope is to prevent situations seen in other parts of the country from happening in High Point.
I believe, personally, once the relationships are established, they'll last a lifetime.
In High Point, Katie Nordine, Fox 8 News.
I checked with the people that will physically be looking at these applications, deciding how much money goes where. They tell me that they hope checks will be in the hands of businesses by mid to late February. Now, that time frame depends on how many applications have errors and whether or not the Department of Revenue has to go back and ask businesses for more information if it was not submitted properly. Take a look down South Main Street in Lexington. These local shops are among hundreds across the Piedmont, staying afloat and trying to survive COVID restrictions, supply chain issues, and worker shortages during this pandemic. A total of $500 million is up for grabs. Businesses that can prove they lost 20% of their revenue during the pandemic can apply for up to $500,000 in relief money. There's two types of grants businesses can qualify for if they apply by the end of today: a hospitality grant and a reimbursement grant. Now, restaurants, lodging, retail, among others, fall under the hospitality grant. Second are the reimbursement grants. These are for businesses that did not receive funding from other relief programs like the Paycheck Protection Program. While paper applications will be accepted, online submissions are encouraged.
The online application is intuitive in the sense that if you put some information in that's wrong, it will tell you, will give you that message. And so businesses who are applying online have the ability to, when they get to the end of the application, to get a verification that the application has been received.
To find the online business grant application, go to ncdor.gov. And if you have any questions of whether or not your business applies or what kind of documentation to send in, you can call the helpline number right here on your screen. That number is 1-877-252-4487. The Department of Revenue says that somebody will be available all day to answer any questions in English and in Spanish. In Lexington, Lauren Crawford, Fox 8 News.